On this episode of the Star Trek Universe podcast, we are talking about the brand new short trek, Ask Not, right after this.
Welcome to the Star Trek Universe podcast. My name is Matthew Carroll.
I'm David C. Robertson.
What's up, buddy?
Hell, I don't know, man.
You keep saying that. I don't know what you mean. I mean, you know, you all right? You okay over there?
No, never.
Okay.
Never.
Well, I guess that's probably more appropriate to talk off cast about.
I live my life in perpetual turmoil.
No, that's I'm sorry to hear that. I'm with you. I guess I feel that pretty much applies to myself as well. I'm not very down about it. Are you okay? Are you down about it?
Not right now.
Okay. Cool.
Like I said, it's the only way I get anything done. I gotta, work myself up in the knots over everything.
Yeah, I hear that. I've been pretty insanely busy, mostly working on things for this podcast, trying to get these songs ready. I'm really excited about them, but they've been a lot of work. Thanks, man. Well, let's talk about Ask Not. How about that?
Yeah, we'll do that.
Woo!
For as long as we can.
For as long as we can, which I don't feel like is going to be very long.
Yeah. I mean, they couldn't even be bothered to make it 10 minutes, so...
Oh, was it not even 10 minutes? Yeah, it seemed super short.
It was.
All right, well, how about I throw that synopsis at us?
When an attack on Starbase 28 leaves a surprised prisoner under Cadet Thera Sidhu's watch, she is faced with making a decision that may threaten her standing in Starfleet. And that prisoner is Christopher Pike.
Yeah. And it ends with finding out it was all just a simulation to test her... I guess, all
her
kinds
character.
of her character, but also her character, where her loyalties lie, her knowledge of regulations. Like, it tested a lot of things. There's a lot of things going on in the dialogue, but these short treks are so strange to me sometimes because I can't ever decide if they're going too big with something or too small with something. Mm-hmm. And this one felt decidedly too small, but at the same time, I wouldn't have wanted this to be an episode because it's one of those restart everything at the end and say it didn't happen kind of things.
Well, it reminded me of the Kobayashi Maru.
Sure, but everybody knows that's a test.
Right. Well, we didn't know that at the beginning of Star Trek 2 when we first sit down and watch it originally.
Sure.
In fact, that there had been a leak that said that Spock died, so they kind of, made sure he died there.
Gotcha.
But it also reminded me more so of that episode of Next Generation where Wesley has to save somebody and risk himself and to get into Starfleet Academy, I think it was, and didn't know that it was a test.
Yes, I've seen that episode recently.
Apparently, that's just what Starfleet does, is just, devise clever ruses where people have to sacrifice themselves and are tested in some strange way.
Yeah, which, cool. And there's definitely precedent for it in the universe. Both those that you mentioned, well, at least the Wesley one is a secret to the person being tested. Mm-hmm. It just seems like a lot to test someone, like to pull a active captain out of the field and have him do this test before every cadet joins his crew. Do they do this for every cadet? That's kind of my question.
Yeah, do they do this every time anyone transfers?
Yeah, it seems weird. Is this a Pike? No, they said specifically this was number one's idea. So but is this something number one does all the time? Is it she only does it to people who she feels needs this test? I don't know.
Does she just have some secret horrible mean streak in her that makes her push forward on ideas like this?
Well, and I did like the moment with her and Spock on the transporter pad when he says something like that, to that effect. Like, yes, we've learned not to ever trust her, because that's kind of as they had that discussion in the elevator, that's the sort of image that she's trying to portray. But she just let her guard down before Spock, but Spock is basically lying for her. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed that, but I don't know. Yeah, the whole thing was not amazing.
So this Sidhu character, do you think she's... Are we watching them slowly put together an Enterprise show? Is that your thought? Because this is my thought.
I do think they are playing with that idea. Like they clearly they've shown us the bridge, they've shown us engineering, which I'm sure you had issue with.
Oh my gosh! I mean, no, because of my long-standing stand now, where I put it in another universe because that's the only way I can handle it. But it was ridiculous, and I don't even know what that was supposed to even be. That was just like CGI madness. Yeah,
well, it seemed like they were going with like the warp engines from the Next Generation and kind of backdating them, sort of. I don't know.
I don't know, man.
That big tunnel of light in the middle of the room. Anyway, not to get nitpicky, this was fine. It was fine. I just don't. Of all of the short treks, I think this might have been my most did I need to see that kind of episode.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, on one hand, the thing that is so promising and so wonderful about the short treks is that we can have little bits like this, and I could see being on staff and just having ideas for like little cool thoughts.
Totally.
Little cool scenes that don't fit anywhere or could fit in somewhere later on and be like, hey, while we have you guys here, would you like to do a short trek? And have that done before they pull down the sets for the Enterprise. The thing is, the fans have liked Pike so much and have liked number one and Spock, and I don't believe that they're not setting it up.
Yeah, I agree. I think they probably are. And I don't know. I'm torn because I'm right there with them. I love Pike. I love number one and I love Spock. But I don't know if that's partially because they were sort of side characters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes when you take the main character or the side character and make them the main character, you suddenly don't have a structure to put a show on. Now, I don't think that's necessarily the case of these characters. Obviously, this could work. I mean, this was, it's just a Starship crew. Of course it could work. Mm-hmm. But I'm so frustrated with prequels.
Yeah.
Discovery was such a problem. That. And I don't want to sit here for another 4 seasons of them constantly doing things to bring the show into line with canon. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they've done so much to take it out of canon, and then they did all that things in season 2 of Discovery to bring it back in. I just don't really want to. I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, like I don't think any of those things in Discovery made a difference to me. Like, it's still pretty ridiculously out of canon as far as I'm concerned, and they did make a difference to me. As we've talked about many times before, most visual problems don't bother me. Mm-hmm. The things that bother me are like the actual technology differences and things, which there are some, but they did try to bring most of those back into. They did. So they were appealing to a person like me, but even me, I don't want to see that for another 4 seasons or whatever, 5 seasons, 6 seasons. I don't really want to see 7 seasons of constant retconning. I'd rather them just move forward and tell me a new Star Trek story. But, aesthetically speaking, if all of that was just slightly different, or it was, looked like Discovery now, as we're being told, then what the hell did Sisko and crew dress up as? We watched them walk around the actual, original series show. I don't know. It causes a litany of problems for me. And I don't like that, the Enterprise, when we're looking at the engineering, looks way more advanced than anything in any of the later series. 100 years later, how far is this retcon going, damn it?
Right. Well, that's the thing about aesthetics, is it doesn't necessarily you could go through time periods where different things are in style or whatever, and it could be all kinds of different looks to the ships. But the things that's why the things that bother me are the things like technology, and they have definitely not fixed all of those problems, but they fixed most.
They haven't, but I enjoyed this for what it was, but it wasn't much of anything as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I enjoyed all the bouncing back and forth of regulations. I think that was my favorite part. Just the patter and the actors are killing it.
Yep, absolutely,
they're doing great. One thing about this being a test, it started with an explosion that was big enough to rock her and knock her to the ground.
Yeah.
That was kind of weird if it's a test. Mm-hmm. I did like how he systematically lured her to release him with different kinds of tests. First with her husband by just casually bringing up that his ship was in trouble. Mm-hmm. And then with vengeance against the Tholians, that was fun. Just like, oh, they're the ones who destroyed your home, right? Don't you want revenge? Let me out of here. Yeah. And then finally, just a direct threat to her career, like directly, like I am a Starfleet officer, and I'm going to threaten to destroy you. And then she still stood her ground. I enjoyed all that. Like it just felt like this could be an opening scene to something, or something. Like it just didn't feel like it was enough to be a self-contained story.
Yeah, it felt like the opening scene of Star Trek 2.
Yes, exactly. All right. Well, the only other thing I wanted to mention was the trailer for Next Time On or whatever after this.
Yeah.
Shows the animation, and it shows all this animation stuff that's coming up. We've got 2 short treks in December that are animated, and it said a whole new universe.
Yeah, I took note of that too.
What do you think about that?
I don't know what to think about it. As far as I'm concerned, it's bad marketing.
Yeah, I agree.
Really nothing more, because they're like, it's animated. It's a whole new universe. I'm like, is it? Because it looks like the Discovery Enterprise, and we've got the little robot that we've seen on the show on Discovery.
Yeah, it's like the marketing team for the CBS people don't know who Star Trek fans are.
Yeah,
you can't say shit like a whole new universe as the only words in the promo. Like it showed like the names of the promos, when it's coming out, and then it was like a whole new universe, and it's like, is it? Is that what is this how you're conveying that information to me, or is that just a marketing tagline? I don't know what you're going for.
Yeah, and I guess it's going to be like it looks like a baby tardigrade.
Yeah,
with the dot robot. Well, whatever.
Yeah,
looks like it's trying to be Wally.
Yeah, it does. I mean, yeah, that could be fun. Like they're making stuff for looks like probably for a younger audience. Like I don't just mean animation necessarily has to be for a younger audience, but that particular thing, it looks like Lilo and Stitch meets Wally. Mm-hmm. And so they're going for something like that. It seems like, at least. Maybe it'll be great though. I'm excited. These short treks so far just haven't blown my hair back.
Not this season.
Last season was neat because we learned stuff about the characters that we were currently watching the show.
That's not fair though, because I really loved the Tribble episode.
That is true. Yeah, the Tribble one was great. It was amazing. I think that's probably my favorite one. So this one's probably my least favorite. That's probably my favorite. So,
and last year I loved the Mud episode.
Yeah, the Mud episode was great, but I still think I love the Tribble episode even more.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I love Rainn Wilson and all, but H. John Benjamin's my man. Love him. All right, well, that's about all I got on this. What, you got anything else you want to talk about the short trek?
No, I think I'm good, man.
All right, well, guys, we'll be back. We got a whole lot of episodes dropping this week. We got more songs dropping. We've got our review of Unification coming up, and then after that we've got the review of iBorg coming up. So we've got lots of stuff that'll be in the feed. If you're enjoying this cast, please go give us a review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, I guess it's called now. Give us a review and tell your friends. I feel like we're doing some cool stuff on this cast now. I don't know. I've always enjoyed doing this cast a lot. I love talking Star Trek, but I don't know. I'm really excited about making all these songs, and we might have a lot of that coming in the future, and hope y'all dig those. So let us know what you're thinking. And if you're digging it, please share it with a friend and give us a review. Peace.
Absolutely. Live long and prosper.
To reach out to us, hit us up at StarTrekUcast.com, at Star Trek Ucast on Twitter, or search for the Star Trek Universe Podcast on Instagram or Facebook. And if you want to hear more from David C. Robertson, search for the DC On Screen podcast in your podcast app now, or go to maladjusted.tv for his comedy sketches. If you want to hear more from me, Matthew Carroll, search for the Marvel Cinematic Universe Podcast or the Orville Universe Podcast in your podcast app, or check out my music. Just search for Matthew Carroll wherever you listen to music.